Hey guys, welcome back. It's Shelby and today's video is so cool. I was gonna do it as just a time-lapse painting with some music in the background because I like those. I think they're relaxing and I like to do them every once in a while. But it turned out so cool and there's some weird things going on during the video and I want to explain them as I do them. So this is what we're making. It's kind of a 3D 4-season art. So you have what's meant to be spring, summer, fall, and winter, and it's a little brunette girl dancing, and then she's in fabulous clothing. So she's in flowers and feathers and fall leaves, and then just a really elegant winter gown. So this is what we're making, and I'm just going to narrate my way through it a little bit, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm starting off with some masking tape, and I've never really had a lot of success with masking tape, completely keeping clean edges. I don't actually know how they do that, but it does a pretty good job. So I'm going to be starting off with that. And since I'm making 4 panels for the 4 seasons, I'm just going to give myself 4 even panels. And then I'm going to go in with 4 different colored backgrounds, but I want to give these a little bit of dimension and a little bit of different character. So I'm doing darker on the bottom, then kind of a light area in the middle, and then kind of a pale version of the bottom up on the top, just to give the illusion of sky, distance, and then ground. So I chose 4 different colors to represent the seasons. I chose kind of a pale pink for spring, and then obviously a bright blue for summer because that just had to happen. Blue is actually kind of tricky to work with because it just heavily saturated the canvas. So I had to go back in with more water and just kind of clean it up a little bit, just kind of clean up the the sky and the light area in the center. And then I tried to line up that light area with the pink, not identical. And I did want some brush marks in there. If it ever got too smooth, I would go back in and deliberately put in brush marks because that was kind of the look I was going for. Just kind of that brushed out sky and ground. So this one is the winter panel. I don't know why I did it before fall, but it is, and it's purple and it's lovely. And like blue, this one was also really difficult to work with. It didn't go on super dark, but I guess just the darker colors are more difficult to kind of fade out a little bit, but I did my best. And then I went in for fall, and that one is going to be kind of a lovely green. And these are my 4 panels for the 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. And we are ready to start painting in our lovely 4 dancers. So for the dancers, I'm actually not going to be showing a lot of their bodies or faces at all. So I'm just doing some rough shapes to try and make them all look roughly the same. So I'm doing one leg extended out in front of them, one leg kind of kicking up behind them, just a little box to delineate the hip area, a little line up for the waist, another box for the chest and shoulders, a neck, a head, and then I'm doing the same arms, attempting to do it the same arms on all of them. I'm making a little double claw for the hand up top and having it swoop down to the edge of the box and then swing around and go down to the hips. So just kind of a rough ballet shape. Doesn't need to be perfect. We are going to be covering the majority of them. This is mainly just for proportions and shapes so that I can cover them with the dress. But yeah, just try to make them as even as possible. Close counts. So once you have your 4 lovely dancers in there, again, don't worry about details. We're covering their faces with hair and their bodies with clothing. So just kind of the rough shape so that you can get your proportions correctly. We're going to move on to the hair. So I am making my dancer brunette. And I'm just going in with a little bit of a bun and then painting over their face area with hair. So it's going to look like a giant kind of messy ballerina bun, just big and voluptuous hair. Because the color of skin is just underneath, it kind of fades the paint out and gives it little highlights and lowlights with the brown paint. So I'm not going super detailed on this either. I'm just letting the paint mix and kind of make its own detail work. Next, we are moving on to clothing. So I have my flowers for spring, just a lovely pink color. I'm going to disassemble and cut up the petals, and this is going to be my dress. So I'm going to make a bodice and a skirt, just cutting up the petals to make a bodice, and I'm going to hot glue them together and fit them on to the picture, kind of trim them to fit, and so it looks exactly how you want it to. And then go ahead and glue it down just with a little dot of hot glue. And then we're going to work on the skirt. So it's going to be the same thing. I'm cutting up my petals, measuring them, arranging them, and gluing them down. For summer, I thought feathers would be super fun. So I definitely want textured clothing on all of these dancers, but I want it to be different. So I thought flowers for spring. And then I'm gonna go in with some feathers for summer because how cute is that? And then we are going to do some leaves for fall. So while the feathers were a little bit different because I had to kind of like shape them and trim them, the leaves are really very similar to the flowers. I have fabric leaves and I'm just kind of cutting them up and arranging them into a colorful pattern that I like, and then trimming the skirt and re-gluing it together in the shape that I like. So I have a colorful top and a red skirt, and my fall dancing ballerina lady is all done with just a little touch of glue to keep the leaves in place. And it's time to move on to winter. This craft is going super fast. So I actually have, it's not even fabric, it's like this weird material, but it's a gold tablecloth. I think I got this from the dollar store, and it's double-sided with silver, and I am going to be cutting my winter dress out of this one. So I folded it over on itself and glued it to make the silver bodice. I'm cutting out a rough dress shape and then adding a little slit because her foot's going to show and it's weird otherwise. A little bit of glue is going to glue the dress down, and then we're adding a little bit of black tulle over the top. I'm just cutting a square and kind of folding it into a rough triangle shape for the skirt, and I'm going to glue that on just so it's got a little bit of pop and texture and makes a beautiful evening dress. Remove the tape and we will see what we are left with for our beautiful 4 seasons of dancing ballerina ladies. So here is how it turned out. I'm going to zoom in on each one of the dancers so you can see their dress and their hair, and see the color did bleed out a little bit under the tape. It did for spring too, but mainly for everything else. I think the more water I use, the more it bled out. But honestly, I really like it because you still get the sharp line in there, but then you get the little color bleed too. And I think it looks really, really cool, and I hope you guys do too.